After all our long waiting, Assassin's Creed Nexus is finally out. I luckily got to try out the game pre-release, although it was a pre-release version and it showed. First thing you get in the game, the loading takes some time when you're first loading up. It takes you through the menu options and there's tons of them. They really did hold true to their promise of make sure there be plenty of accessibility options, plenty of comfort options so anyone can play the game. I did not play nearly enough for this to be a review, and there's a reason that I didn't. It took minutes of being in the game to realize that some things in this pre-release version were kind of broken. I am really hoping that the issues that I had are fixed in an update as soon as the game actually comes out, but unfortunately this video is coming out at the same time the game is, so we won't know yet. For those of you who got the game already, a quick way to figure it out: in the game, one of the ways you can crouch, you either press X to crouch or you can duck in real life to crouch. If you can duck in real life to crouch and it works, then they did something to fix what I was having. But you can see here, every time I tried to physically crouch, the game freaked out. When I got near walls a lot of times and not crouching, it would pull me into the wall, it would flicker to my pass through in and out of the game, and then jump back in the game and I have to press resume to play. And it made the game almost unplayable. So I'm really hoping as soon as the game has come out, they drop a patch to fix that. Otherwise, day one reviews are going to be rough if all of you out there are having that. Aside from that, it feels like the game is going to be a really full game. I'm not used to VR games having the long cutscenes at the beginning and all the exposition. We just don't get that enough in VR. You don't get these full feeling games. The combat felt rewarding. It feels a little slow in the beginning. Obviously, they're letting you get used to it. The stealth aspects, being able to throw things, distract your enemies, the physics everywhere. It almost felt like being back in Boneworks back in the day, where there was tons of physics, but sometimes things got stuck to each other. Hands got stuck on a desk or something. So there's a little bit of that too. That may be patched out, but maybe not day one. I'm interested to see how it is post-launch, because I'm hoping I'll want to play more, because a half hour of all of this struggling and I was like, okay, maybe it's time to wait for the launch. What do you think so far if you've gotten it and you're playing it? How is it doing for you? Richie's playing experience is basically the best way to create a VR fail.
Hey, stepping up. Yeah. Ooh.
It just added a free MR update that lets you bring the elevator into your own home. It also advertises it as the best way to set it up with a real plank if that's how you like to do it like we do. A realism graphics update, and there's a new Canyon's Edge map, although that is going to cost you $3.99 if you want to get that extra level. Put your friend up on the edge of a canyon like they're going to fall to their death. It's exciting to see them coming back to Richie's plank after they worked on another game, but what do you think? Is the MR or the new map going to get you back into this game? I know I love showing it to friends. The long-awaited shooter for Quest, VAIL, is now out for all Quest users on App Lab. $20 is the price tag on this game. Interestingly, launching the same day Pavlov Shack went no longer free to play, out of beta, and also went up for $20. If you hadn't heard of VAIL, this was a game that released into alpha on Steam back in 2022 to a lot of hype and acclaim, although dying down over time. We've known for a long time that it's coming over to Quest, and it was kind of a surprise that it suddenly dropped on App Lab this week. It's a 5v5 team shooter. We actually interviewed the CEO years ago on the podcast, and they talked about how this game, they were really focused on the mechanics, getting them exactly right, and the physics, and taking their time doing it to make sure that the game came out well. With that, so far after the launch, it does seem to be doing decently. Less than 100 ratings, but nearly all 5-star ratings. 93% of them are 5-star, in fact. People saying that they found it somehow running better on the Quest 3 than their PC, saying it's the best VR game ever, the best mechanics of any VR shooter. And if you go looking for the lower reviews, there's very few actual written ones, some people citing they are having performance issues on the Quest 2 or the Quest 3, and one PCVR player who says that they put over 700 hours into it already, saying that even though now that it's released, they feel like the original core issues they had are still there, unfortunately not citing what those issues were. What do you think? Have you tried it since launch? Have you tried it on PC before? Or did you get to try it in alpha during the summer? I'd love to hear in the comments. I know this is a long-awaited one, and I'm interested in getting in and seeing how this actually runs. We are now less than a month away from Asgard's Wrath 2 coming out exclusively on Quest. And with that, over in the game's dev diaries that have been coming out on YouTube, we're getting more and more details about what the mechanics of the game are going to look like. If somehow you don't know yet, this is an action-adventure game taking place in an Egyptian-inspired world, and we're getting more details about what this RPG is going to have in it, including helpful NPCs, crafting, mini-games, cooking, and even more. You're actually going to have a home base that's going to have allies in it, from item craftsmen, cook, huntsman. These helpful NPCs are not only going to have their basic functions, but they also serve up quests and helpful advice. While crafting was in the original Asgard's Wrath, this is totally new to have cooking in this game. It makes me think about games like Zelda, TOTK, where cooking does offer you different benefits based on what kind of recipes you put together, what kind of food you find. Although I did find cooking always to be a bit of a chore just to keep the recipes and things that I wanted implemented, ready to go. What do you think of Asgard's Wrath adding that to it? It'll be interesting to see once this game does come out on December 15th how people react to these new mechanics, whether they're tedious or exciting. And remember, if you got the Quest 3, you will be getting Asgard's Wrath 2 for free. Otherwise, it's going to be $60, so you might want to wait for one of those referral credits after it comes out to try and get a little cheaper of a price. A lot of mixed reality apps have you up and around your room, dodging enemies, fighting and shooting through portals that lead into a virtual world. Pillow is trying something very different. Their new MR app will actually have you lying down and looking up at your bedroom ceiling and checking out relaxing scenes and mini games. Not only does it have different stories, but it even has beta multiplayer support. Now, this relaxation does come at a price of $10. Although with that price and this only being out for a week, it already has over 50 ratings, with people giving this about 4.7 stars. 84% 5-star ratings, people saying this is really something special. It's cozy mixed reality. It's the last VR app you'll use before bed. And then if you go down looking to see what people said in the less than positive reviews, one person giving it a 1 star saying it's not working for them, one person giving it a 3 star saying it's a good idea, but the music was creepy for before bedtime. But most people seeming to agree that they're very excited about already, or the potential is really there for something in the future. Keep in mind, if you swapped out to something like a Bobo VR M3 strap, laying back on a pillow is not always as comfortable with a battery strap, so this might be a reason to keep that stock strap around. Maybe. Demeo Battles has finally launched this last week, and if you hear me say the word Demeo and you're like, I thought it was Demeo, well, the developers all call it Demeo, so I've had to correct myself, which is weird because I feel like Demeo sounds better. The game has come out after people have been waiting on it a long time. This is similar to the original game Demeo, same turn-based mechanics, same enemies and heroes, except now you're playing against other people. Either 1v1 or 2v2, up to 4 people are playing together, choosing their heroes and even monsters to fight alongside of them. And with it being out a week, it's gotten about 100 ratings, giving it about a 4.3 star. A little bit lower than Demeo, which is at about a 4.8 star. People saying it's way better than original Demeo. People saying it's the best game on Quest. Or if you look down to the lower reviews, people saying that they wish that the team would have just put a year's worth of updates into Demeo instead of working on a whole new game to drop. Or some people saying, as originally was planned, this game should have dropped as an expansion to Demeo or something in the Heroes Hangout to do, rather than making it a completely separate game. I will say personally, not a full review yet, but I have been playing this quite a bit. As someone who loves Demeo, I'm actually struggling a bit with battles. I feel like a lot of the really positive reviews are from people who came at this game playing it just as it is and not being big fans of Demeo, and they're enjoying the mechanics. But if you're used to Demeo, some of the things in it don't quite feel the same. Like healing fountains aren't healing all of your allies, it's just healing you. A lot of your abilities don't work on the other heroes, they only work on their monsters. And since you can't control your monsters, their AI sometimes has them doing just stupid things and not helping you fight the other enemies, leaving you kind of feeling like you're on your own when their enemies seem to be targeting you just fine. Ultimately, I'm going to follow the game and see where it goes from here, but I will say so far I definitely am much more into Demeo itself. But Demeo Battles is helping people because you can get in and play around in 10 or 12 minutes. You don't have to commit the hours of it. But between the die having one side that's a miss on it and the amount of criticals the other team can potentially roll when you don't roll any, it just sometimes feel like the game, even though it really should be skill and strategy based, is still coming down to luck in these matches because they're so close that it's not always satisfying. Even when I win a match, I find it unsatisfying. And of course, when you lose one, it's going to feel less satisfying. I'd love to know if you've been playing it. What do you think out there? And especially if you were someone who played Demeo before, are you liking it? Or are you liking it but you weren't someone that played original Demeo? Let me know. We Are One was a game that we recommended for a long time when it had a demo to check out because it had such unique mechanics. This is a time looping puzzle shooter where you are recreating yourself with the actions that you did, and then that character continues to repeat those actions so that you can work together with clones of yourself, basically. Well, now they're taking it a step further and dropping a level creator. So now not only are you figuring out puzzles, but you can create puzzles yourself. Back when the game did have a free demo out, it was one of the most successful and widespread demos on the Quest Store. But now if you want to check this out and you don't have it, you are going to have to pay $20 to get into this. Resolution Games, the creator of the Demeo games we talked about earlier, has another game coming on December 14th called Racket Club. This tennis simulator has also recently announced they are adding a mixed reality mode. This, of course, putting a tennis court in your home, although utilizing a portal style wall where you see into the VR world for the other half. We're seeing a lot more of these, obviously, with the Quest 3 and the push for mixed reality. But the last question I want to leave you with here is, how do you feel about mixed reality now that the Quest 3 has been out a month? Are you playing a lot of mixed reality? Are you enjoying the modes for the games that do have it? And which way do you find it to be more immersive and interesting? Do you like ones that just put new objects inside of your home, or do you like these ones that have a portal in front of you leading into a virtual world? I'd love to know in the comments down below. We got a lot more games, it seems like, coming, although unfortunately it does seem like we are seeing some more disappointments in some of them. So I'm I'm really hoping Asgard's Wrath delivers on it and we get to see more games like that. And hopefully Assassin's Creed gets an update. But what other games are you looking forward to? Let me know out there. I want to say thank you once again for showing up, being with me, and I will see you in another reality.